As a person that grew up playing video games, one of the things I always find fascinating is the story of how certain games came to be. So anytime I find a new book that offers a chance for me to learn more, it piques my interest. Game On, Video Game History from Pong and Pac-Man to Mario, Minecraft, and more by Dustin Hansen explains the inspirations and origins that led to the production of these games by some of the titans of the industry, like Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto, Valve's Gabe Newell, and Will Wright, creator of SimCity and The Sims. At 368 pages, it's not a complete history of video games, but more of an account of video games that were either the first of their kind, led to the evolution of a genre, or had some kind of major impact in gaming history. And whether good or bad, all kinds of games are covered in this book: arcade, computer, home console, and even mobile. Let me just say that overall, I really enjoyed this book. The tone of the book is conversational, and I appreciate that it includes screenshots of all the games that are covered in it, even though they aren't in color. Dustin Hansen also does a great job of conveying the role and significance of each of these games. He also provides some great trivia and behind-the-scenes info. Like this part here, where he explains that Pong was originally codenamed Darlene, after one of Atari's employees. Or how when EA was in the process of making the first John Madden football game, Madden surprised them by actually bringing along his official playbook to follow up meetings, so that they would know the difference between things like a goal line and a dive play. But this book isn't without its flaws. Some of the attempts at humor can come off as contrived and just flat out corny at times. And it does have some inaccuracies, like this one for example, where Mr. Hansen writes, "Final Fantasy VII launched at the right time for Sony too. They were riding high on the release of other, more mature games like Tomb Raider and Metal Gear Solid. While it is true that Tomb Raider predates Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid doesn't. It came out a year after." There's also this part regarding Half-Life's debut at E3 '97. In 1997, the game was ready to be shown to the public. It wasn't finished yet, but Valve was confident that their decision to start over was the right one, and that they had something special. They took the game to E3, a popular video game show in California. They didn't have a big, fancy booth or a light show like some of the big publishers, but eventually, by word of mouth, people started finding their game and giving it a try. Before the show was over, Half-Life ended up winning E3's action game of the show. It's true that E3 generally is held in California, except in 1997 when it was held in Atlanta, Georgia. And Half-Life would indeed win the Action Game Award at E3, but that wouldn't be until the following year at E3 '98. And lastly, when talking about The Walking Dead by Telltale Games, he wrote this: "The Walking Dead, the TV show, was doing very well in 2011. Families were gathered around the TV every Sunday night to watch Carl, a tough sheriff from Georgia, lead his ragtag band of survivors across the South." Is Rick Grimes really that forgettable as the main character of The Walking Dead? Now I know that some of these might seem like minor nitpicks, and we all make mistakes. Some of these could be just innocent oversights on some of the specifics. But despite the discrepancies, it's still a great source of information. Ultimately, Hansen's Game On is insightful, well-paced, and a pleasure to read. It serves as a good introductory book for anyone that wants to learn more about video game history, and those that have more extensive knowledge can find it useful as reference material. In the end, its pros outweigh its cons, and it's still worth picking up.